Today, I'm not only going to show off a new watch, I'm going to tell you why you should own a modern day G-Shock in 2026. Let's get into it! Yes, and welcome to the My Watch Collector Show. Now listen, I wasn't expecting this, but fortunately for me, I received a watch for Christmas.
Thank you, mother-in-law.
Now for me, this would have been a rebuy, but in a snazzy new colorway. And I've got to say, I absolutely love it. Now, well over 3.5, maybe 4 years ago now, I did a show called Is It Time to Look at a Modern G-Shock? Obviously the answer was yes, but with one caveat. For me anyway. Now, since that show, this G-Shock reference remains one of my favourite of all time, and it's a watch I've recommended to thousands of you out there. So it's only fair I get another one. But I guess in 2026, we've got to ask the question again. Is it time to look at a modern G-Shock? Are you goddamn G-Shock ready? Let's go. So, ladies and gentlemen, in all its beautiful, fresh lime glory, we have the GBD 200. This reference came out in 2021. The actual module was in the reference GBD 100 to start with, but it was a very bulky structure. Wasn't attractive to my eyes at all. It wasn't until I saw not only the amazing legible screen, but that screen housed in a modern interpretation of a G-Shock square, I honestly went,
take me money now!
Now, as you can see, this is no ordinary G-Shock, because what you are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, is a memory in pixel display. Not only that, it's in a negative format, where the background is black and all the digits are in the color a normal LCD background would look like. Now, like me with aging eyeballs, can you see the time? Damn right you can see the time. It's one of the best things G-Shock have made in years. Now, I'm not saying I don't prefer the digital displays, you know, the old-fashioned 7-segment numbers. Recently, the company released a G-Shock Square with a MIP display, and the format and look of the screen is very similar to those old displays. In the GBD 200s, where we get a modern old look. Now, when I say old, it's the kind of look you had in your Nokia 3210 mobile phones back in the early 2000s. But it's new in watch faces. Now, in today's show, I'm going to explain why having a modern day G-Shock may be beneficial to you, not only in terms of its functions, but just the wearability. Now, this reference was made for someone that likes a bit of sport. The really supple urethane rubber strap was designed to shed perspiration. Must be some sort of built-in fan in here somewhere. Or a cold towel. But honestly, this rubber strap is like no G-Shock you own, unless you've got a GBD 200. It is so soft, it doesn't feel like any other Casio. What's even better, this watch comes from the G Squad line, and it's the first one to have a squared look to it. Bands from the G Squad lineup have long slits in them at only a 5mm distance, which means you'll get a very comfortable fit for any wrist size out there. I mean, look how far it goes. That's on the last notch, and that could probably go over my head.
Some big wristers out there.
Anyway, with the 200s, I love how the band integrates into the case with this dark see-through resin transitioner, I guess you call it. Again, that has been put in place to make it extra comfortable while you're running or doing any exercise. Or, for many of us, just sitting down and eating ice bun.
Could you just click that like button, please? It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Now we have a hard resin shell. Underneath that, we have a rubber urethane layer, which protects the case that the module's in. And it's phenomenal because they've been able to make this look pretty thin. Yes, I think it's around 15mm in thickness, but that's quite conservative for a lot of G-Shocks out there. You can see this black line running through the case, and that is actually the case. There's 3 points where it comes through to the exterior shell. That not only breaks up the color and slims the look, but also it just makes this watch look solid. Another thing you gotta love with the GBD 200 are the buttons. Unlike your traditional 5600, those tiny stainless steel pushers are difficult to push in at the best of times. With this reference, very easy. The only negative we have is the slightly unnerving feeling that the beep only happens when you release the button. That's weird. Something that the new G-Shock Square MIP B5600 doesn't do. They've learnt from that. Let me tell you about the functions you can do without connecting this to your phone, and to let anyone know that is a little bit scared or worried about Bluetooth connectivity, don't be. You don't have to connect this to your smartphone for this to work. Now, usually when I show operations, it's the mode button I push first. However, today I'm going to push the top left one. Steady on! But what this does is changes the display of the watch. Now, without the use of a mobile phone, this watch has a built-in accelerometer, which sounds like something you find in Doc Brown's DeLorean. Essentially, it's a step tracker. Anyway, it shows the amount of steps you've done currently, and it'll give you a graph of what you've done in the past 7 days. If you push that display button again, the watch does have a distance GPS tracker. If I'm right in saying, that can only be used via your smartphone. The last display is pretty much a dual time, which is quite handy if you're on holiday. I always have my GBD 200s with this solid display. It's where the numbers are the biggest and the most clearest. Now, on to the modes. And as you can see, we have a workout mode, which is pretty much a glorified countdown timer. Next, we have the stopwatch. Now notice, because of the low refresh rate of a memory in pixel display, you don't get the hundredths of a second whirling around. With the countdown timer as well, you can only measure things up to 1 second. That's the one downfall of this reference. Notice that if you get lost at any time in the modes or the menus of this watch, the bottom right pusher is your back. Press back, and you're back to the display of the time. Now, if you was to connect this watch to your phone, your watch will auto adjust the time to make sure it's absolutely accurate. Now, without your connectivity, this watch will only lose or gain 15 seconds a month. So is it worth it? What might be worth it? You've got 300 world cities to choose from. This watch can also give you notifications. So if you've got a text message, a WhatsApp, an email, that will show up on your screen, and you can also make this watch vibrate and give a bit of haptics. Now, the more you use it, the more you're draining your battery, and I think the battery life is around 2 years. I've never connected my GBD 200 up to my phone since the review, and that's coming on to 4 years, and the battery's perfect. You can also log your activities and look at your history of activities, and also this watch can be used to find your phone. Yeah. Onto the backlight, and we have 2 nice white LEDs shining from the bottom, and I have to say it's a far better look than the new B5600 Square G-Shocks.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and wow, even though the Christmas lights have been put down on everybody's houses, my eyes are still going to be squinting at the brightness of my new watch. It is awesome, isn't it? Such a sporty look. As I said, G-Shock called this colour Fresh Lime. It's a colour reference I should have got a long time ago. I'm going to wear this so hard at work. For those of you that don't know, I'm a tennis coach by day. And to be fair, the colour's not far off the balls I hit. Steady! Honestly feels better than the new G-Shock Square. This urethane rubber is just so comfortable. It's brilliant. Now, the big news is G-Shock just released a GBD 200 with a positive display, which is something people were crying out for when I did my first GBD 200 review. But the one main thing people were crying out for was to make the GBD 200 solar. And I am surprised that G-Shock didn't use the same module as the B5600, which has multi-band 6 and solar power. All they've done is change the look of the display. If you don't use this watch for any smartphone connectivity, the battery's going to last quite some time. I guess we're going to answer this question. Should you try a modern G-Shock in 2026? The answer is 100% yes. Just be smart up here. Use the watch for what you want to use it for. I mean, my little Audi could go 100 miles an hour if I wanted it to. But do I? Definitely not. You're like driving Miss Daisy. Yeah, all right. Come on. 20 is plenty. The time to buy these GBD 200s has never been better. For 2026, let's give it some colour. So here it is, my wife's impressions of the GBD 200. Lime, fresh lime colour. Great, a Casio. Not a good start. Well, your blue one looked like a transformer. This one looks like an odd-shaped tennis ball. Don't like it, but it is quite legible. Ha ha ha! Well, there you go. Not a bad review from the wife, seeing it is a Casio. I think I caught her on a good day, you know. Yes, Casio Corner is back, and to kick off 2026, we got to say a big thank you to 1986 Nunalapa, because not only is he showing off one of my favourite Casios I own, the A1100, all stainless steel, baby. He's taken the bracelet off and put it on this NATO style one, and it looks blooming awesome. So much so, I think I'm going to do this myself, you know. Thank you so much for tagging me in, my friend. It's a fantastic photo. If you want to be on the next Casio Corner, all you got to do, find me on Instagram here and tag me in on one of your Casio posts. Because who knows, next time, the star of the show could be you. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you want to show a bit more support to the Mad Watch Collector channel, we got a Patreon now. See the shows early, behind the scenes footage, blooper reels, private group chat, and get your name credited at the end of every show like this phenomenal lot. But if I've got you for a few more minutes, and I think I have, you know, ooh, why don't you check this one out? This is a show about my favourite Casios I've ever reviewed. It's worth a look, you know. Go on, click it, you'll love it. Click, go on, click it.